Hi everyone, my name is Kim. It's sun's out. It's nice. Nice day to upload a video. Anyway, we're going to talk about a disorder, and it's called trauma bonding. Now, what that means is if an individual is in a traumatic situation, the person that is traumatizing them, and they're feeling the trauma. So this could be abuse, physical abuse. It could be emotional abuse or sexual abuse. It could be, a child or a teenager being abducted and taken away and going through trauma. The person that abducted them is putting them through the trauma, either sexually abusing them or physically abusing them or emotionally abusing them, while keeping them captive. Now, trauma bonding. It's when a person has gone through so much of trauma, that the person who's doing this is putting them through this, and so they're so traumatized to the point where they start to form a connection with the person, with the abuser, with the criminal who's doing these terrible things to that person. So they start to form a bond with this person. And if you really think about it, it's this bond, trauma bond. It's not because they're enjoying it. It is a form of survival. It's a coping, a way of coping, with the traumatic situation a person's in, or a child, or a teenager. It's their mind's way of, it's all about survival, I would have to say. It's survival. Their mind is putting them in survival mode. Because no person, who is being put through severe trauma, no person in their right mind would enjoy, the trauma that they're going through. And so it's a very sensitive subject. I'm going to be brief. This is just going to be a brief video, but so whatever, if it's a child, that's being physically abused or sexually abused or emotionally abused, or an adult, that has gotten raped or is in an abusive situation, like physical abuse, they're being beaten, or they're being emotionally abused, manipulated, all this stuff. So your mind, it's your mind's way of coping, it's survival, for a person. And it's for most people in situations like that, especially children, like the trauma bonding, it's a rare thing, because most people going through that stuff, that trauma, they want to get away, and they want to be rescued. They yeah. But there are cases where, the victim of the trauma, the abuse or whatever that's traumatizing, that the person's traumatizing them, they're doing it for survival, and it's, it's survival. You got to do what you got to do until, until you get out of that situation, away from that person who's abusing you, causing you trauma. Okay. Now I'm going to talk about treatment. Treatment is very imperative for them. They need to have that. Therapy would be good, to get them in therapy right away. The therapist is going to help them to realize that, okay, so they had this trauma bonding, but, the therapist is going to help them to realize that they had to do what they had to do to survive, and, these are dangerous situations, so a person in that situation adapts to their environment, adapts to the person who's traumatizing them. So the therapist will help them to realize it's not their fault. It's not their fault that this happened. This is their way. Of coping. It's a way of survival, when going through this severe trauma. And so the therapist will help them to realize that, it's not their fault. They're not bad people for, when they had this trauma bonding with the person who's inflicting this onto them, and they are the victims. The therapist will help them to realize they're the victims. They are not at fault. This is not their fault. The therapist, will also want them to have, a good support system. And so they would have this with their family, with some, close friends, with just all your family. A good support system is important. It's imperative to heal from this, to when a person goes through this, they're grieving, and so a good support system is important to help this person heal from the trauma they went through, whether it's a child or whether it's an adult, teenager. That is really important. Also, if the victim, during the time that they are inflicting this trauma on you, they will threaten you. That the usual spiel is, if you tell anyone that, that I did this, I'm going to harm someone in your family, or I'm going to harm this person. So they threaten the victim. It's a form of control, to control the victim and to keep them afraid, to the point where they don't want to report it. This is what usually happens. But if they are, say, like if a child is abducted and has gone through lots of abuse or trauma or whatever, and the police finally is able to excuse me, to find that child and to take them out of that situation, the the person that did these horrible things, they could get pretty violent. So when they're that way, like say, they would be arrested and they would be put in jail. But when they do come out of the jail, they're usually, how it goes is the criminal will want to get back at that child, or at that adult, or at that teenager that went through the trauma. And so another good solution for these people that have gone through a lot is, they need to get the police involved. They need to get a restraining order, like ASAP, because they don't keep people who do stuff like this in jail for the rest of their life. They're eventually let out. And so the family of the victim, they getting in touch with the police and getting a restraining order, to protect their child, or to protect a teenager, or to protect, an adult. This is what's needed. If it has come to the point where this person wants to try and find them and seek them out, and maybe do some harm, okay, so this is a very sensitive topic, but I think it needs to be it needs to be spoke about. Anyway, my time is going, and I hope that this video is very helpful. If anyone has been in that situation before, there is a way out. There is help. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. There is space, for that person to heal, in their journey, to try and get over the grief and heal. And also, a good thing for them is to do things they enjoy. I forgot to mention this, so I'm going to mention this quickly here. So do things that, the victim can do things that they enjoy, a hobby that they enjoy, or exercise, or something that will put them in a good mood, and just, keep them going in life, keep things positive as they heal in their journey. All right. I hope you find this information informative, or if you've gone through a situation like this, and it's people that go through this, it's not their fault. They develop this bond with the person that is causing trauma to them, trauma bonding. All right, I hope you enjoy the rest of your afternoon, and I'm going to say goodbye.